Don't you hate it when someone asks what book you're reading and you go totally blank? Your mind goes into overdrive. Oh, come on, you're a writer. Why can't you remember what's on your bedside table? Are you even reading? If you're like me, yeah, of course you're reading. Lots of things. All the time. You forget some of them. It's not that big a deal. But, speaking of big deals, I saw something in the paper yesterday. Did you hear Mariah Carey just released her memoir? And apparently it's full of drama. People thought they knew her. But now to hear what she went through in childhood, wow, people had no idea. Now you're probably going to go off and Google Mariah Carey memoir, even as you're listening to me. You're curious, aren't you? Go ahead, I'm not going anywhere. So Mariah Carey. Most people know her name and what she does. In fact, what she's done very well for the last 30 years. Mariah Carey sings, and now she writes. Welcome to Two Words with Tapu, a show for writers you haven't heard of yet. We're here to cheer each other on when we think our writing's out of tune. Today's two words are about face. And in this episode, we're asking, what do we want the world to know about us?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Something isn't right. What do I want you to know about me? All right, friends, the truth is I have been suffering from paralysis by perfectionism. In fact, I'd even call it death by perfectionism when it comes to this podcast. I announced, I think it was in November, hey, I'm starting season 3. I've got some amazing writers. And I was so excited. I had these grand plans of how I wanted the podcast and the season to run. And then things just haven't worked out that way. And I was starting to get really frustrated and, feeling quite challenged by how I was going to get back onto my podcast. I've missed this. I've missed speaking to you. I've missed hearing back from you. And so I thought today I'm just going to explain a little bit about what's happening with the podcast and then also talk about how it's going to go moving forward because I don't quite know yet. So in essence, when I did the first announcement of season 3, I talked about how I've got this amazing community of writers around me. And I have a group now called The Keep. So it's called The Writers Keep, and it's meant to be about us supporting each other to keep writing. And so initially I thought I'm going to interview each one of these people on the podcast. We'll talk about our writing, we'll unpack what we're doing, give each other feedback and support, and record it live for you to hear. And then how it's really worked out has been unexpectedly beautiful because now as we've gotten these people together, and at the moment there are about 4 or 5 of us, as we've been gathering, talking about our writing, we're starting to get to know each other. So we're still in that phase of listening to what we each need, how we can support each other, starting to ask questions, starting to think about how our little community can work and really grow and nurture each other. That it felt kind of weird and wrong to now say, okay guys, can we just stop all that happy kumbaya stuff and get on the microphone? That just wasn't feeling right to me anymore. And I'm so enjoying the catch-ups that we're having because they're all on Zoom, they're also through emails, that it wasn't quite feeling right to then pull everyone out of that to then come and talk about that on the podcast. So I started to get into this panic of, oh my gosh, how am I going to get back onto the podcast, talk about the writing, talk about what I'm going through, what I'm learning, but also still honor this community that we've got that's growing. And then I just hit a wall. So I've pretty much been against this wall for the last 4 months. That's why there's been nothing on this podcast. But then I reached out to one of the writers in our community. Her name is Gina Makari Kane. She's phenomenal. And I just told her, Gina, this is what's on my mind, what I'm thinking. And she was great. She just said, just start, just do it. You can add bits and pieces. You can take things in and out. You can change, just start, just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it was such a beautiful release from someone I trusted, but also someone who I'm already trying to work with and serve in this community, but also someone who's been supporting me and who knows me. So it ended up being a really beautiful moment of, oh yeah, how did I get to this point where I was trying to make something so perfect? And yet the whole heart and intent of having the podcast, of having the writing community, is for us to be saying it's okay that we're not perfect. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am now. And, you know, when I did that first intro that you heard about Mariah Carey, I recorded that a while back, but it was interesting coming back to it. And the question is, yeah, what do we want the world to know about us? I really think that's the question at the heart of what we're trying to do in the writing community, or even through this podcast, is start to really think about what we want the world to know of us, but that we are leading to say, this is the story we have to share, this is who we are. And just to share in closing, what sparked this question is because I'm working on a few different projects, and one of the things is this novel. And my publisher said, oh, hey, we're going to need 100-word bio from you. And I went, oh, bios, the bane of my existence. I hate writing bios, and I want to love writing them, but I get no joy from them. And it's because I just find it so hard to summarize all the things I've done, all the things I care about, into one short, succinct paragraph. But that's ultimately what we're going to have to do if we're going to be putting our stories out in the world, our films, our books, our articles. People want to know the story behind the stories. So we have to write about ourselves. So, you know, the bios for the writer talks, the panels, the bios for the funding applications and the competitions, and about page for our websites, the bios for our social media pages, or about me, about us, about. And that's how I came about with the episode title, About Face. So, you know, how do we switch? How do we also look at the things that we've done that aren't necessarily about or within the writing industry? So, for example, I've come from an architecture, engineering, construction background. Then I've done some public speaking, and then I've done some teaching. But how do I use all of that to then put in to the story that I go out and tell the world about myself, that's complementary to then the stories I'm writing? So that's the question. And I'll leave it like this: to bio or not to bio? To bio, that is the question. Look at me trying to be all fancy and Shakespearean. Anyways, the question is, could you write your bio in 2 words? How do you describe yourself or your stories in 2 words? How do you want people to feel when they read your stories? And if you just have 2 words to capture how you want to impact people with your stories or with your writing, what are they? I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. And so are the writers that I'm speaking with at the moment. And maybe this season is going to be about not having the answers, but figuring them out. And so I think I want to end on that note. And just to say that in the coming weeks, I'm going to try and, podcast or release an episode every week, just to give you an update on where I am and what's happening, to pose some questions and some thoughts. And then I'm also going to try and just focus all my energy back onto my website. So you can find me, my stories, contact details, all of that at taku.com.au. And that's also come out of me wanting to really refocus where I put my stories and how I nurture them. And so I've got a dedicated page on there called Keep Writing. So that's where you'll find all my thoughts and blog posts. And if you have questions or comments, yes, please reach out to me or write them on the page and I will try and respond. But for now, I did it. I'm finally back. And it's okay that I don't quite know where it's going, but I'm beyond excited that I'm back because I love this. I love talking about writing. I love sharing what I'm learning. And I hope that you are tickled as well, and that I hope all your writing goes well as we walk this journey together. All right, everyone, keep writing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.